Hello, welcome to Kate's Paper Creations. I am Kate and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Washington State, and I want to welcome you to my weekly Casing the Catalog video and blog. And I am going to be casing this page. It's page 17 in the catalog, and it's the Kangaroo Company and Kangaroo dies, and they have a bundle currently available for 10% off, and I'm going to be using both of them. And I'm going to be making this little card right here. So let's get started and I'll show you how I did that. Okay, I'm going to want to, here's the finished look. Here is the stamp set. And it's got a lot of little things in it that are fun to use. And we're just going to be using the little kangaroos and the butterfly today. And then we're going to also be using the layering circles dies. And we're going to be using the 3 smallest of those dies. And so they are the ones that measure 1 5/8, 1 3/8, and 1 1/8. So they are the smallest. I'm going to pull those out because I want to show you what I did. As you can see from the original, I wanted 3 larger circles and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 smaller ones. And so there was a lot of die cutting to be done. So I've done that already, and I have all of those pieces ready to go here that we are going to use to make these frames around. And the way I cut those out is I cut the larger one. I tried putting them one inside the other, and that works pretty good for these two. And then I thought, well, I'll try putting this third one in, and it's just a little bit, it just won't quite fit. So I backed off on that one, but these ones I put through like that, and that is what created this. And I didn't have to fight to figure the center or anything out. Worked out pretty darn good. So then save the center from this one and put this on the center and center it on there and cut it out, and then you'll get the smaller ones. I hope that makes sense to you. So you're going to save this middle that comes out of this one that you've cut, and then it will create the piece that you're going to center this on, and then it will cut out this next size that we need for our project today. Okay, so that's what I did. And then when you're cutting the card front, because what I did is I cut the card front, all the holes in it. Now typically this coloring that's here, I would do that first and then cut out all of the holes out of it. But because I wanted to save you from having to watch me cut out all of these holes by running that through 8 times, I decided to go ahead and cut the holes, and I'm going to try coloring it after the fact. So we'll see how that goes. But that's why I did it. But typically you would want to put your coloring on first and then cut the holes, okay? But this is a piece of basic white. It is 4 by 5 1/4, and then you cut a second piece 4 by 5 1/4, and after it's colored, we're going to put it on the front of the card on this so that it creates that layer, and then we're going to glue these pieces on around those like that. And that's going to create that little framed look that I wanted. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for that, and it will all end up going onto a Seaside Spray base. Okay, so we're going to need Seaside Spray cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 because it's going to make a top fold greeting card. You will need a piece of regular basic white, 4 by 5 1/4, and you'll need 2 of those. And then from one of them, you will, after you color it, you will poke out all of these holes using those dies that I already mentioned. You're also going to need some Whisper Basic White to stamp the little critters on. So I'm doing these 2 little kangaroos and 3 of the butterflies, and there are dies for those. Stamped them with Memento black ink, then I colored them, and then I punched them out. Okay, so those are the pieces we're going to use for that, for the decorating. And let's get actually started building the card. Well, the first thing I'm going to need is a piece of paper to put underneath my holy piece. Now, I will say that if you are a Silhouette Cameo owner, you could put these shapes in your silhouette, and if you were making multiples, you could save them in there and design your card in there, and then you would be able to cut everything out without having to run them through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times, or whatever it was. So just so you know. Now, I want my color, my stripe that you see here, to have clean edges. You don't have to do that. That's what I wanted. So I am going to put down a piece of sticky note. You could use just regular copy paper, and then that wonderful Tombow removable adhesive, if that's something else you could do. And I'm going to put it in, about maybe an inch, inch and an eighth or so. It's not an exact science, but I'm just lining up that top edge, which will keep this straight so that I don't end up with a crooked line or something. And then I'm going to use the blending brush, and I'm going to start with Seaside Spray. And between the colors, there's no exactness that has to happen here. So I'm just, and you can make them as light or as dark as you want. I think I'm happy with that. Now, between uses, you really do not have to wash these every time. I do occasionally take them out and give them a good washing, but when I'm doing a project, I just rub it onto the side paper until it looks like it's got pretty much all the color out of it, and then you can start again. And now I'm just going to come with the Flirty Flamingo, and it's okay if the color overlaps a little bit, but you don't want to totally cover up your blue, but you want to transition it, so you're going to have a little bit in that blue, and it's going to transition into the pink, into the Flirty Flamingo, and that looks good to me. And then the last color is the So Saffron. So we've used Seaside Spray, Flirty Flamingo, and we'll kind of get the color out of that. And here comes So Saffron. Oh, and now I want to move this over to this side and give myself another straight line. So I'm just going to use this top. You can see how I lined it up. That'll give me my straight edge that I want. That'll help hold it in place too. And then I'm going to get me some yellow on my brush and, whoops, and put the yellow on. And I do want to get some of that yellow into the pink so that it has that transition. And there we go. Now, it did work just fine doing it with the holes in there first. So if you did set this up on your Cameo, you could actually cut the card part out as well. And you'd be all set to just start building your cards, especially if you were making multiples, right? Okay, so there's our piece for the card front. Then I am attaching this to this. That's going to be next. It's just going on flat. You could use liquid glue. My go-to is the Zig 2-way glue pen, and I'm just going to Put some liquid glue all the way around. Put some around each of the holes so it lays down nicely. But mainly, I want the edges of the paper to stay down. I'll go back and do a little bit more here, just so it doesn't dry out. Okay. And then we're going to put this on here. Just one thing nice about the liquid glue, it does give you a little bit of time to get everything lined up. There we go. So there's that piece. Now we're going to put those rings around the circles. And the way I did that was I used my glue pen and I put, oh, I meant to tell you too, I need to tell you, when you cut these circles out of the card front, you're going to use the smaller. So like we have the 3 sizes. Let me lay them out here again so that I don't get you confused. Oh, I didn't keep any of the smaller ones. So you've got these 2 sizes. This one went inside this one. So this is the one you're going to use to cut out the hole in here. And then the smaller die that went inside this one, that's the one. You're going to use the smaller of the 2 dies to create the hole in your card front. So maybe the better way to explain that would be you're going to use the one that is 1 3/8 and the one that's 1 1/8, and the larger of the 3 is not going to get used on the front card front. It only gets used for making the frames. And it's much easier to put the glue on the card just right close to the edge of the hole than it is to try and put it on the backs of these. And we are going to get those lined up and set in place. Here's hoping I didn't get that circle too close to the other. It doesn't look like it. Looks like it's going to be okay. And so this is going to be a little bit time consuming here, but stay down. This is one of the larger ones. And so I did 3 of the larger holes, here, here, and here. And then I did 5 of the smaller ones, here, 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 and here. Here, 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 here. And so I appreciate your patience as I do this. At least you didn't have to watch me run the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine numerous times. Since I don't have that fancy, expensive software that lets me speed things up and all of that, I try to do things ahead of time so that I can just explain everything. Now we're going to have some trimming to do when we're done here. Not a big deal. This is a small one as well. Get that one in place, and one more. See, that one moved. Get those to sit there good. Okay. Now, like I said, I stamped these little guys with, I'm going to let those dry for a minute before I try and cut them off so they'll stay in place well. I stamped these little guys with Memento Black ink, and then I colored them with Blends pens. So for the kangaroos, I used both light and dark crumb cake and light and dark soft suede. And for the butterflies, I just kind of mixed it up, and I used Seaside Spray, So Saffron, and Flirty Flamingo blends to color the butterflies and the insides of their little ears. So those are the colors I used. I've already pre-colored, so you don't have to watch me do that. And then while that's still drying, I'm going to put some dimensionals on the backs of these, and I'm using mini dimensionals. The butterflies, just one mini dimensional right in the center works perfect. So we'll do that so that they're ready to attach. And then on these bigger guys, I put a couple of small ones here and here and one there. And this little guy, he's going to get one there and there. And then for their ears, because I wanted their ears supported, I cut the two of these minis in half. And that gives me the perfect size for their little ears so that they don't get bent if you send it in the mail. Get it to let go of my finger, we'll be all set. And for this little guy. Like that. Okay, let's get those peeled off. And then I'm sure my glue will be dry enough that I can trim my edges. And almost there. Okay. And then we'll take this and we're going to trim off the edges. So I hope you enjoy the casing the catalog videos. Sometimes we see a card in the catalog and we just go, oh, that's what makes us want that set, is being able to make that card. And then it's just kind of fun to get some idea of how it was made. Okay, now we're just going to attach this to the card front flat with regular adhesive. You could raise this up, but I am going to put I have put dimensionals behind those guys, and so I kind of decided that to reduce some of the bulk for mailing, I would not go another layer. Okay, so then I am putting this on, and it's going to have that 1/8 inch border all the way around, like that. And then just a matter of attaching the little kangaroos. I turned it around. Okay, we did it a little different. I put this on this one, it was this way, but on this one, it has now become this way. I love it. Okay, doesn't matter, it will still be cute. So we're going to put that little guy there, we'll put this little guy here, and the butterflies, you know, it's just really a random thing. Wherever you'd like them to be is good enough. Let's put them on right side up though. Okay, and then I stamped the little phrase, "Happy for You," with Memento Black onto Seaside Spray. Just like that. And then I just cut it out. I mean, you could pre-measure it, but I didn't. Just did it and cut it. I'm not worried about it being perfectly square. And then I need those mini dimensionals back because I'm going to put some, here they are, put 2 of them on the back of this to hold it down. You could use a strip of your adhesive strips. That would work too. But it's going to sit right here across the bottom of that little guy, just like that. And there is today's Casing the Catalog video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I would love to have you shop with me if you don't have a demonstrator. The link to my online store will be in the description below, as well as a link to my blog. Thanks for stopping by.